Welcome to the Phantom Zone.
And now, comics.
All right, so what is our first news item for the evening?
Let's start at the top.
So, Hush, the animated movie. So, one, this looks awesome. DC's, for the most part, had a pretty good record for their animated films. I don't know, like every so often, like I don't watch like 3 or 4 in a row, and then I watch like all of them at once. It's way easier now with the app, which I'm sure a lot more people are going to jump on thanks to that image of Swamp Thing that came out. Because goddamn, did that look awesome.
Yeah, I've just seen the screens of that, and it looks great.
Oh, there was like a high-res photo that was released.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's in the Phantom Zone. I'll try to find it and post it in
here.
I
think I saw that post.
Which kind of ties into one of our other stories later on, because it's made by James Wan.
Well, I was going to say, like, it's funny you say that, because the thing that's probably gonna make me like when Doom Patrol comes out on Friday, I'm gonna get the DC app, and the thing that made me, I was like, break down and get it, is that Flex Metallo scene.
Yeah,
where he flexes and everyone orgasms.
Oh my god, that's a scene?
Yeah, it is.
So they're in like Dannyland, I assume.
Okay.
And they're talking to Flex Mentallo, and Flex he flexes, and then everyone starts kind of getting weird.
Everyone but Robot Man.
Everyone but Robot Man. Robot Man's like, what is going on? And Crazy Jane's like, we're coming. and everyone starts orgasming, and Robot Man's like, oh, and I am also orgasming.
And then he clocks in his per episode. What the fuck?
Yeah, and then Flex apologizes.
Okay, so it seems like they're doing the kind of like a adaptation of the newer Doom Patrol stuff.
I think the villain for it is I think Mr. Nobody.
Yeah,
who was the big villain for the first Grant Morrison arc. But it definitely has characters and members who weren't a part of that original run,
like Cyborg.
That and Elasti-Woman or Elastigirl or
I haven't watched the show yet, but is Cyborg kind of taken Beast Boy's place in the team? At least it seems that way, kind of from the trailers.
Well,
I'm waiting to watch until the entire thing is out, and then I could just binge the whole thing.
I don't remember what his role. I saw him in Caught Up with Titans.
Well, yeah, because Beast Boy starts off in Titans, but everybody but Cyborg is in Titans, and then they change out the Professor, obviously. The actor.
Yeah, Cyborg comes in, he's trying to campaign he's trying to get onto the Justice League, and it's just, I think if Grant Morrison watched the Doom Patrol DC Universe series, I think
he'd like it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of trippy shit.
Yeah, it's what they can do.
Crazy Jane goes into her own head.
Oh yeah, I've seen the trailer for that,
and it's all her personalities.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that, and Robot Man is in her head, right?
Yeah, and
because they're actually pretty good at dropping on their Facebook ads, trailers to specific episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And because of obviously all the stuff that we do, I get all those targeted ads.
Yeah,
and
I imagine
there was an episode where after there was a cult. I'm blanking on the name of the cult.
Is it the Cobra Cult? Because that would be funny.
It was a cult about bringing the end of the world, obviously. And it was,
maybe it's Brother Bloods, the Blood Cult, or
no, it was
Fire.
It was about an eye, an eye would appear in the sky and start erasing people.
Oh, so maybe a Brother Eye. It's probably something they just made up for the show. That sounds very interesting. But we can spin back around to this, because I believe, is this Hush movie, is it direct to the app, and then it's also going to be released in hard copy, I believe?
When it releases digital, it'll be on the app.
Yeah, because
it also gets a physical release on the 13th, but it comes out 2.5 weeks early digitally.
Oh yeah, because I see they even have it what do you call it, with the DC Universe thing at the top. The extras are interesting too, because there's going to be a Sergeant Rock animated short, Batman, another like little Batman featurette, and then some sneak previews for some other stuff. So they're doing like another Wonder Woman movie, like animated movie.
Oh, cool.
And then there are two, it looks like, from like the Batman, like 2 things from the Vault, which it was like a Batman Superman crossover from the old cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do think DC's doing a good job in kind of retroactively adding stuff to the app to make it more worthwhile. And the cast in this looks fantastic.
Yeah,
it's like everybody
really
that's been around.
Okay, I'm brought up to Wiki. It has to do with the Cult of the Unwritten.
Oh, okay.
Or the Unwritten Book.
Yeah, I
don't
and
the D Creator.
I do think has for the animated DC stuff has Jennifer Morrison been the voice of Catwoman for more than one film? She's from like Once Upon a Time and House.
Let's see.
Because I don't think Jerry O'Connell. This might be his first time as Superman. I'm thinking.
No, he's played him before.
Okay, and then which is funny, his wife is Rebecca Romijn is playing Lois Lane.
And Rainn Wilson is Lex Luthor.
That was the one that popped out to me. I like Vanessa Williams as Amanda Waller, so that's got to be new. And then Peyton List, who's been in like everything comic booky, is going to do Poison Ivy, which she was like the 3rd iteration of Poison Ivy apparently on Gotham. I only know this.
Did you bring this up like a couple days ago?
Because when we were doing Smallville, she's in season 4 of Smallville as Lucy Lane, and then she was on The Flash as Golden Glider.
It's very strange that they use Hush's real name in this
as a separate character.
When they could have just said like the voice of Hush. Like they didn't.
They want to keep the illusion going. They want to make sure.
Yeah, because I think if you didn't know, you wouldn't necessarily. And that could also be young Hush. That I don't know. They could do some. There's got to be a scene or two where we get the young Bruce and Tommy.
I really hope so. The Hush is kind of like my favorite Batman comic that I've read. It was the first one I was given, at least.
This is interesting that Tara Strong is playing a reporter, but not Harley. Somebody else is playing Harley.
Yeah, that's super weird.
Yeah, Hush is like one of those stories that like I really liked until I I just read more Batman, and then I tried going back to Hush, and I was like, oh, I mean, it's basically like your big budget Batman comic, where it's like you got Jim Lee, you got like all the cool villains show up, they're all drawn by Jim Lee, they all look great.
Well, he basically does the exact same plan that they did with Bane in Nightfall, where he just like sends hordes and hordes, like all of his rogues galleries at Batman to break him. Except that he has this other connection, like he's just the reverse Batman.
Yeah, not to kind of like give it away, but I think it's like the big twist of that series of that book, like kind of undervalues like Hush as like a
character.
Yeah, but I feel the same way about Hush as I feel about Thomas Wayne Jr. or
I like the twist of Thomas Wayne Jr. more, and it only sucks that they've never gone back to that well, really.
Yeah,
because I think it would have worked as like if they would have made that like hard canon, that would have been such an epic thing to reveal. Which probably I know Connor has no idea what we're talking about.
And I think like the unfortunate thing about Thomas Wayne Jr.
No, I do know that one. I get that reference. I get that one.
And I think the reason why they haven't used Thomas Wayne Jr. is because you have Thomas Wayne Sr. running around right now, and it's like, why would you use Jr. when you have Sr.?
Yeah, well, which we'll get to that part when we get to that story.
Yeah, that other part I don't know about. I know the Thomas Wayne Jr. thing. I don't know the senior thing.
So we'll get to it. That's going to be our last major news story is involved with that. So we can bounce to the next thing, which I personally don't think is a huge surprise, which is the return of
Wildcats?
Yeah, Wildcats. Because they've had a couple. There were 2 Wildstorm books, and then it's got cut down to 1, like, new release. And then the Wildcats were in the mainstream Wildstorm book, or the main Wildstorm book.
Well, I think the Michael Cray book was never intended to be an ongoing. I think I really like that book, too. That was like I would suggest anybody wants to read. I like the
weird Wildstorm alternate versions of all of the heroes. Especially, I like their Barry and their Aquaman. Their Aquaman is so weird. And but yeah, like, you know, Grifter and all these characters are all in the mainstream Wildstorm book, so it makes sense for this team. Because we haven't really seen much of this team in the Wildstorm book. It's more concentrated on the other two teams, so it makes sense for them to come back. But this is like, you know, Warren Ellis joining this is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know anything about Wildcats, but I'll read anything.
Oh man, Wildcats is really good.
I'm just kind of like sitting over here waiting for them to bring back Gen 13.
They tried a New 52 and it was garbage.
It was so bad.
It was so bad.
It was so bad. And it was just like, yeah, the team sucked. Like what they did with Fairchild was awful.
Oh, and they tied it into that whole weird Teen Titans book where they were in, what the hell was that thing called with the weird wing guy?
The Ravager.
Oh god, and that was so dumb. Then they killed Artemis in like the first issue, like the bone arrow Artemis.
Yeah, they brought her in because she was like a fan favorite character from Young Justice, and they immediately killed her.
Like hard, she got thrown into like a lava pit or something like that.
Ugh, man.
Oh man.
There's a specific book I want to come back or a series to come back, and that it was a book that Gail Simone wrote. It was about superheroes that retired, like old superheroes that retired.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
I think it's Tranquility Lane.
So it's like Red, but with superheroes.
No, it's just them in retirement being happy.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. I like Gail Simone's. Like, you say she wrote something, I will believe you that it was awesome.
This was like from this is before, or this is I think one that the second or third time they tried rebooting the Wildstorm universe.
Well, they tried real hard in New 52 because they had like 4 books. Because it was Voodoo, Wildcats.
It was Voodoo, Grifter,
Stormwatch,
and Midnighter and Apollo. I think
Midnighter had his own series.
Yeah.
Midnighter and Apollo, the Midnighter series, and then Midnighter and Apollo came later. But
yeah, I think it had like 4 books, which was like pretty hard. The Voodoo book was the one I was like the least interested in. The Midnighter one I thought was actually, and then the Midnighter and Apollo ones I thought were fine. The Grifter one was kind of a whatever.
Because Rob Liefeld killed it.
The only thing they did interesting was like they were actually interesting characters when they were in the Flashpoint universe with Lois, like Grifter and Lois running around was interesting. But
yeah, I liked the Grifter and Batman interactions in Flashpoint Paradox. They making a joke about something. They made a Robin joke.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out like what that line was called that they like put them under, and it was the Edge.
Oh god.
Yeah. So yeah, there was Stormwatch. It was
Team 7.
Team 7 came a little bit later.
Yeah.
Voodoo.
I think Voodoo I know was one of the first ones in like that first wave.
It was Voodoo and Grifter.
Yeah.
And Stormwatch.
Yeah.
And Stormwatch.
That's my favorite Creedus Clearwater Revival song.
Voodoo Stormwatch?
Yeah, Voodoo Stormwatch.
Alright, so let's bounce to our next thing, which is IDW is going to announce something huge at San Diego.
Yeah, so they're going to announce a huge career-owned comic for Comic-Con. Like, I don't know if that means that they're going to be, like, taking someone's career-owned project and coming to IDW with it, or if they're announcing a whole new series. It could be, you know, like the only person I know that's had like a huge career-owned comic for IDW in the past has been Joe Hill. So with Lock and Key, so I don't know if it's a new Joe Hill project, but I kind of feel like if you're like putting this out here as news of like a huge career-owned thing, like I feel like announcing another Joe Hill book would just be like a little not as big as
underwhelming.
Like it. Yeah, and then, you know, and if it's an existing thing, there's not really too much out there that you can grab that isn't self-published. Like, people thought about The Goon, but The Goon is being published by Albatross Comics, which is Eric Powell's thing. You know, all the Terry Moore books are, you know, being published by Terry Moore himself. So, I don't know.
If they wanted to make a splash, it would be more like poaching someone for a new project.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's definitely something to keep an eye out for, and hopefully it's good. There's been some interesting stuff IDW has been doing. And I'm always for like creator-owned stuff. So hopefully we get something cool. We can move on to Sony. Movie Studios is planning to make a new Masters of the Universe movie.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be wild.
They've been
wicked, yo.
They've been trying to make a Masters of the Universe movie for like the last like decade now.
Well, yeah, because it's Conan in space.
But like, it's funny because like the directors that they have attached to us now are like no one who has like a big like any kind of like even like a little release to their name. Like it's all like short films, which feels like the situation that they did that I forgot which studio this was, but with the Dark Tower where you had all these big people attached, and then it was just like this sunken cost fallacy where you're like, okay, we just put so much money into this already, like let's just get it out there with whoever.
Oh, see, like to me, I think of Josh Trank and Fox.
But I mean, Josh Trank,
he did have Chronicle, but like it was a short, but then they like gave him some money and he made that. Like Chronicle was made on like a budget. But then he like, because he went like straight from Chronicle to Fantastic Four, right?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But like Trank at least had a major studio film out. Like these guys have like
he had a little bit of training wheels. Yeah, it's not like even what's his name that did Black Panther, because he
Ryan
had
Coogler?
Like, yeah, his was like a real gradual, because it went from what like Fruitvale to Creed to Black Panther. Yeah, but I don't know. I do know the kid because he's been in a lot of things that my wife has watched, and yeah, he's tall and ethnic-y. Like he's that weird. Like,
I love how you're tiptoeing around every possible step.
Yeah, because I like his name. Like he in the shows I've seen, he plays like Hispanic, but he has that like look where he's like could play like kind of any sort of tan skin person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, and he's really young. Like he's in his like early 20s. He's probably like 23.
Oh, dude, he's younger than me. Yeah, he's yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, so I've seen him in. Because my wife watched, which they've done a spinoff for, like this Foster show from that was on ABC Family. Now it's Freeform.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was in a big Netflix tween movie.
Yeah, I'm looking at his IMDb right now, and he's like your average teenage heartthrob. He did that classic run.
Wait, how old is he?
He is 22? Yeah.
Yeah, he's a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Man, even I feel old.
Man,
he replaced actually in that one show the first season or first 2 seasons was like some kid that was really big from like Disney Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Who was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, and he replaced him. But he's a tall, like if he does a bunch of HGH, like he'll be big. Like he's got to be like 6'3", 6'4", or something like that. So I can see him physically. He definitely has the pretty boy look where he can pull off the what the hell's He-Man's other name? Prince Adam? Prince Adam?
Yeah.
I think it's
that
Prince
sounds
Adam.
right.
I know. Like we're like, I think me and John are like in the generation post He-Man was a thing.
I had like some figures for He-Man, but I never saw like a He-Man show when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's the same time period as like Thundercats. Maybe it's like actually it's maybe a little bit before Thundercats.
We had like a retro channel here in Canada that just played retro cartoons on. It was like one of the 20 channels we had. So I watched He-Man on that and Power Rangers and stuff. That's about it.
I hope they kind of take a look at what they've been doing with She-Ra and kind of, do kind of the same flavors that they've been doing with She-Ra with this.
Well, that's the whole thing.
That's a little too much subtlety for
They
Sony.
tried to reboot a cartoon of He-Man like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's not good.
And it's not good. It's like they did... I can't remember if they did He-Man or Thundercats first. I feel like He-Man was first.
He-Man was first, and then they did Thundercats.
Then they did Thundercats, which also didn't do well. Then they did Voltron, which kicked ass.
Well, the thing about like Thundercats, and I thought it was good, and it looked very, very good, and I liked a lot of the new character designs, but it was just, I think it was just like a little bit too serious, And like they also just kind of kept on putting it at like weird times.
Yeah, well, that's what like helped Voltron and She-Ra is that they're on Netflix. Yeah. Those others were on Cartoon Network, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right. So we could pop over to our next thing, which ties back into what we were talking about before. So James Wan and Lindsay Beer are bringing the Magic Order to Netflix. So,
can someone give me the elevator pitch on what the Magic Order is?
Yeah, I was gonna say like I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't read Mark Millar comics, so.
Oh wow, all of us don't know that.
Yeah, I can read you what it says. It says Mark Millar's miniseries, The Magic Order, introduced the idea of a war between different families of magicians. It's the first new comic from Mark Millar after signing a 2017 deal selling his company Millar World to Netflix. Oh, so that's why they're making this, because he sold his stuff.
Like my comic book guy, like he loves the Magic Order, and he's been trying to get me to read the Magic Order, but like, Mark Millar is a shithead, so I'm like, I'm good.
There's like, I don't know, yeah, I'm like, and I do like Magic stuff. The actual book that from Image that I was going to bring up later is actually a new Magic book that's been getting some hype called Excellence, and it's really interesting, especially like it's kind of Harry Potter-y where there's like a magic world behind the world, but it appears that it's trying to figure out how to say this. Like it's all the main characters are black, including our main character, and he's also like the son of like the main family, and like magic powers are kind of passed down generation to generation. Cool. And he was like an extremely late bloomer, and thus he had like a horrible relationship with his dad because he was kind of seen as a disappointment. So it's like it's interesting. They've only had one issue come out. It's by Brandon Thomas, Kari Randolph, and Emilio Lopez. It was pretty good. I would say if you're into like magic stuff, check it out. It's kind of got this cool art style too, where it's kind of it reminds me of like the Boondocks, the like cartoon comic strip kind of style.
Okay.
It's like very hard edge with like a pretty big black outline.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty cool and it's interesting, and it has like a really cool like after there's like a 2-page thing of the writer talking about why he did it, and that it's like he loves stories about fathers and sons.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, that sounds really interesting.
Yep. So let's move on to the next thing, and that is Adult Swim has greenlit Primal from the creator of Samurai Jack. So
yeah.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fucking awesome. There's not much else to be said besides that trailer was wicked cool.
Basically, it's like all you people that are like really bummed like 10 years ago that Korgoth never got made. Here's the spiritual successor to that.
Yeah, so I have not seen the trailer, so it's just like, what is like the kind of elevator pitch of it? Because I just see like a caveman riding a T-Rex.
Dude, that's the elevator pitch. What are you talking about?
That's what I thought, and the art here looks amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically prehistoric era caveman dealing with like the dawn of evolution. There's like dinosaurs about to die out. You know, it's like pulp.
Oh, pulpy pulp.
Oh, awesome.
It's like I see it as like the Flintstones, but a realistic look at it.
Oh, I was thinking of actually, what's that old Hanna-Barbera cartoon?
Look, man, that last comic book of the Flintstones was a little
actually,
bit
you know what? That is very true. Those comics were awesome. Really hit the head on the nail on the head with those ones.
All right, so the next thing deals with the two main creators from Game of Thrones are taking on, I believe it's like a Star Wars trilogy, right? Or is it just
they've got their own kind of set of movies they were given.
And yet Rian Johnson, his stuff got canned.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. He's still doing it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing another one. So this is like a second set of movies.
Yeah, they have a bunch of different spin-offs planned after
the next one is the end of the, as far as we know, of like the Skywalker kind of things. And then Rian Johnson has his trilogy, which he hasn't said when it is like set, and this is like another set of movies.
Like I can't wait to see like who are like the bigger like babies, like Star Wars fans because like they don't like the Star Wars thing the Game of Thrones guys are making, or the Game of Thrones fans who are mad about how they've ruined Star Wars.
Oh, it's gonna be the Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans are generational.
I don't know. Like, I'm a fan of both things. I am someone that's been very disappointed by the finale of Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
And I also did not realize that the one guy wrote X-Men
Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of holding my breath, and maybe like the number of entries or what they're doing will be kind of adjusted based on the reaction that's happened from Game of Thrones. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Who knows? That's a great point.
So we'll see. Like, I don't know. I don't really want to get into the whole Game of Thrones thing. I'm actually like trying to move past it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I would guess, like, I would just say, I was very meh.
Actually, if you think that's bad,
here we go.
You have no idea how old school Star Trek fans, how they feel about Discovery.
Oh yeah, I know they hate Discovery.
Yeah, but like those aren't even like real fans. They're like people who like complain about like diversity in the cast and like don't even like realize that that's like what Star Trek has always been about.
Yeah. Star Trek is always like Star Trek is the entire world is like a super left-wing communist view of the future. And that sounds like really weird, but like they don't have money. They just do stuff. I can't remember one of the movies actually like in the Next Generation actually like talked about it. I think it's like First Contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the plot? Is it
time travel? It's First Contact is when they bring what's her name that played from Luke Cage.
Oh, Alfre Woodard?
Yeah, when they bring Alfre Woodard up to the ship, she's like, wait, how do you pay for all this? And they're just like, we don't. Like, everyone just does stuff. And she's like, wait, what? Yeah, and they kind of explain that, like, yeah, because they're technology and they could just, like, make anything at any point, money's, like, ceased to have any meaning. So, I don't know how people are surprised that, like, Star Trek is, like, very liberal.
I don't know. People just want their fiction their way.
Yeah, I literally brought it up. I'm, like, in my political science thing that I'm doing, like, in a thing I wrote up, I brought up Star Trek. So, that's why, like, that popped in my head really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to this next thing, which is Matthew Rosenberg is writing the 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank movie. I have no idea what any of this is.
I'm really happy about this.
So 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank is a comic that was written by Matthew Rosenberg, and it was done through Black Mask. It was kind of like one of their big books that kind of like blew up.
Yeah, it's sort of what put them on the map.
It's basically about a group of kids get roped in with a couple bank robbers, and they plan to rob a bank.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
That's a good concept.
No, so, it really is good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like one trade. Karen Gillan like described it as Tarantino meets Goonies.
Oh,
that's a good pitch. I like that.
And Matthew Rosenberg, he said, or when he announced that he was going to be.
Oh my god! I'm reading the tweet right now.
Yeah, read it.
Okay, so in other news, I've been hired to write the screenplay for the upcoming 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank movie. This is equal parts exciting and terrifying. Now I got to go read the book, I guess. I'm pretty sure I know what happens though.
Yeah, I'm guessing he just like got given a what do you call it, like a
trade.
I'm sure they gave it to him later, but I'm sure like he like in order to like sign on, like he probably got like, oh, here's basically what it's about. So that sounds awesome. Everything you sold me on, I want to go read that book now. So all right. So before we get into like the biggest news story, Alan, you wanted to bring up
Justin Ponser. He passed away a few days ago. On Monday.
But he's like a colorist.
Yeah.
What has he worked on?
He's actually done a crap ton of like he's done colors on a bunch of like a crap ton of books like New Avengers.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at some of it right now.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, I see like he did Guardians and some Avengers stuff.
He did a lot of Marvel now stuff, or he's worked for Marvel and DC, but a lot of stuff, most of the stuff for Marvel. He did some stuff with Image. With specifically Wildcats.
Yeah, it sucks. Cancer sucks. So,
and he wasn't even 50. He was 42 years old. Didn't make it to 45.
He's 10 years older than me, and that's depressing. So, yeah, that sucks, and fuck cancer.
Yeah, man, fuck cancer.
All right, so...
Before we get into the last story, I also like to announce that I'll be writing Batman for DC.
Oh, right.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to have such like an honored writer and seasoned vet here on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, it seems like, we're not the only ones that have taken issue with some of the things that, for all intents and purposes, a extremely good writer has done with Batman. And apparently the heads of DC have given him the axe, and he will no longer, well, when it comes specifically to writing Batman, and his last issue will be, what's that, 87?
85.
85.
Yeah, some issue at the end of the year.
Yes. So, he'll finish up 2019.
But he has at least, it said, several new unannounced projects for this year and next year planned.
Yeah, it says that he'll stay with DC, but he won't be writing for Batman.
He has a bunch of the other books going because he's still technically...
He's doing Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah, which is on hold because the Doomsday Clock is on hold. So, and they're tied to each other.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they they cannot release the final issues of Heroes in Crisis until a certain point in Doomsday Clock because the endings are tied together.
All right, well, that's just never going to happen.
Exactly. So, one of the main issues with this whole thing has been, like, he has said from joining Batman that his entire story, like, everything, even though there's, like, it's been arcs, they're actually all mini arcs in this, like, huge story that he's telling, where the non-wedding of Batman and Catwoman was, like, the midpoint, which pissed off a lot of people, me included, because it was just like such a obvious like blue balls moment. Like everyone knew that it wasn't going to happen, and then the way it didn't happen was so dumb. And then the last couple of issues of the book has basically been a terrible like 90s 80s sitcom style of writing, which is basically Batman is trapped in fear toxin and going through different nightmarescapes.
Oh God.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And it's like this whole weird thing where Bane is using Psycho Pirate, and then that's what brought in the tie-in to Heroes in Crisis, which was what was it? The thing with Gotham Girl.
Oh, dude, I actually just started buying all those like issues. I got like the first couple books, so it's good to know that he's still referencing things that happened at the start of his run. Because it's part of it's the only way to calm down Gotham Girl after her brother dies and everything.
The concept of Gotham and Gotham Girl was actually like interesting. Like people whose powers, like the more they use them, the faster they're going to die.
Yeah,
is like really interesting.
Yeah, where Gotham beats the shit out of the Justice League. That was cool as hell. But it's good to know that they're kind of bringing it back for some annoying reasons, but. It kind of goes to show that he is still planning long ahead with this 100-issue plot.
Yeah, so basically there's been a couple of things. One, there's been a dip in sales. And then the other thing is that, at points he has said they were going to, Alan posted some quotes here, so something that's going to change the character for a generation or maybe more, maybe forever, which I'm sure DC loves to hear. Although it seemed like they knew this stuff, and then somebody may have either not been paying attention or changed their mind.
It's DC; they never pay attention.
Yeah, so it's because he's been basically
isn't Batman still like the #1 selling book of DC?
Yes, but it has still dipped in sales. Like it dipped below. In one of the articles I was looking at, it dipped below Immortal Hulk the last time, like for its week. So it has been dipping in sales.
Oh my god, the Immortal Hulk is the 4th best-selling comic book? Holy shit.
Yeah. So I think they're like not happy about that.
I think Immortal Hulk is really good, but like how does Immortal Hulk selling that well? But like also I'm looking at this right now. Like Batman's number 5 and number 6. So it's like you're selling 2 books a month of Batman, and the only other DC book that's doing better than it is The Batman Who Laughs, because for some reason, I guess.
Well, Batman Who Laughs has been a fucking awesome book.
I just picked up the
I'll
newest
take your
issue.
word for it.
I haven't read it, but I'm really excited.
I've really liked what they've liked. It's actually the Batman, like, besides Detective, like, I am enjoying Batman Who Laughs as a Batman book more than I've enjoyed, like, the normal Batman book.
Well, it's Scott Snyder, and he's just a real good Batman.
Yeah.
Also, Connor and Lou.
Yes.
The final chapter in the Snyder Capullo Batman like saga next week.
Oh, no way.
Oh wow!
I have to catch up on all of that. That's the thing. But I will do my due diligence.
It's basically, I think it's Batman with the severed head of the Joker, but Joker's still alive somehow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, like, I don't know, those books are like super trippy, and that's why, I don't know, Snyder's kind of like a baby Morrison to me, so that's why I always kind of dig his stuff.
Yeah,
but yeah,
well, he did all of Metal, and like everything he did led up to that, and that was metal as fuck.
Which is why, like, they gave him basically, is he writing the Justice League book, I think, right now?
He's still writing it.
Yeah, so like that is why he's kind of running the main boat.
But the thing is, it's his run right now is some people are complaining like they don't like it's not really nothing is really happening.
Yeah, it's a lot of setup right now. Like I just read.
Oh no, I'm talking about even in the beginning.
Oh, in the beginning of the Justice League.
Like no, I mean the beginning of his run.
Oh yeah.
Like
I just read the most recent one, and he'd even tied back into like Barbados, which was really interesting. I think that's how you say that name, right? From Dark Knight's Metal.
Yeah, and you know,
I said Barbados, but like that's
because he's a bat.
Yeah, definitely
Barbados. Okay.
Barbados.
He has that long-standing rivalry with Hermes Conrad about stealing his wife.
Oh man, what was that character's name? Did you say it?
Barbados Slim.
Barbados Slim. Oh man. So yeah, it's just like it's interesting that this apparently went down at like didn't it go down like a con or something?
Yeah,
I think it
aside.
Yeah, you know, I don't think that's. I mean,
I think it
was a long time coming. I don't think it was just something that just happened this weekend.
Yeah, because there's been like other things. It's like the backlash from Heroes in Crisis. There was this stuff, I can't remember what it was called, but they did like a Superman book specifically for Walmart that's supposed to be for kids, and then his story was like Superman seeing Lois die like 1,000 times.
We actually we covered that.
Yeah, so like he's been getting really bad press. So I'm sure that did not help him. So I don't know. It's been an interesting story.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's like DC has editors. DC has like people in charge. Like, if they didn't like basically what his pitch was, then like, why didn't they like wrangle him in and try changing the story before it came out? Because like, I very much doubt like Heroes in Crisis was like a book that Tom King pitched, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's great," and then they saw it before it went out to everyone else, and they're like, "Oh yeah, wait, like this is really bad, but we're gonna put it out anyways."
Oh, you mean like that issue where they showed Batman's dick and they backpedaled it so hard that they tripped over themselves?
Exactly.
Wait, no, that was a good thing though.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing that like got people actually kind of interested in the Black Label. And now, did you know that the second Black Label book is coming out next week?
Isn't it the sequel to?
It's the
sequel to White Knight, isn't it?
No, it's Superman Year One.
Oh God. Okay, so I guess White Knight's going to be the third.
But like, how much time has passed between this and Batman Damned #1?
Well,
like,
but
like
did they even come out with a third one? Because I think they just did 2.
There's 3 issues, but the third issue was super late, and then I
don't even remember reading the third. Seeing the third one.
Who knows when issue 4 will be out?
Yeah, Barbados Slim. Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what.
I'm like, basically at the end of the day, it's like between the stuff with Tom King, the stuff with Heroes in Crisis, the stuff with Doomsday Clock, the stuff that's going on with Black Label, like the rudderless like direction of that entire line. It's just like I don't know. I don't know what DC's plan is. I don't know what DC's goal is. Like, and it makes me. It's like at the end of the day, like what is this all amount to? That Brian Michael Bendis is taking over for Batman? Like,
oh man,
do
I hope not.
because I'm not super interested in reading Bendis Batman.
No,
at least
which is weird because he's been like kicking ass with all of the like Wonder comics. Like Naomi came out last week, and I like really dug. I really am digging where Naomi's going.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Yeah, like I don't know who they would have jump on that book unless it's just like Snyder's way too busy. So it'll be interesting to see. I guess that's why they gave him to the end of the year so they could find somebody.
Well, and also Snyder's already written Batman. Like,
yeah,
don't like
recycle.
I don't want to see him go back.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do, to say the least. So why don't we get into our? Was there anything else anybody wanted to talk about, or?
I actually just had a side question. Have they put those Fleischer Superman cartoons up on the DC app?
I believe so.
Rad. Cool.
Yeah. There's like basically the only things that aren't on there are things that they don't have ownership over.
So like
Batman 66
movies and like the latest movies, obviously. CW stuff.
That'll be up there eventually whenever their Netflix deal runs out. And then I'm trying to think, is Batman 66 is not on there, and I'm trying to think if there was like another big thing that wasn't on there. Oh, it's like only the first two Superman movies because 3 and 4 have like weird rights issues. And I think like all of the Batmans are on there because I think Warner.
Well, I mean, you only really want the first two Superman.
Yeah, but sometimes you want to watch those other two as like for shits and giggles. Like Supergirl's not on there because that's the same thing as those second two Superman movies. I'm trying to think what other. Like, they don't have the Swamp Thing show or, like, Swamp Thing movie kind of stuff. Yeah, stuff that Warner Brothers didn't do and doesn't own is the only thing that's not on there. But, like, everything that they've ever done is there, which is a lot. Except for the stuff they don't want you to see.
They have Super Friends, The Batman, Teen Titans, Green Lantern, the animated series, Static Shock.
Yeah, they have everything from, like, the Genie-verse.
Batman, Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, I was just curious because like I really love like those Fleischer Supermans, and I kind of want to rewatch all of those.
Yeah. All right, so
yeah, they have. How many did they make?
Like not a whole lot. I don't know. Like,
yeah, because there's 17 on.
Yeah,
that
sounds about right
on there. So
all right, so why don't we go to our kind of topic for the evening, which is basically. This kind of started when we were talking about, because the other news story we didn't touch on really was the Robert Pattinson is supposed to be, like, has it actually been officially
said? He's in line. No, he's not commenting.
There's been no signing on the dotted line.
Yes, it's just, it feels like one of those controlled rumors that gets leaked to see if people would be interested.
To test it out, yeah.
Yeah.
So this started in, like, one of our chats of, like, basically... To me, I was hoping, like, and I think Pattinson will do a fine job. I was personally hoping for them to go younger, and it kind of opened this kind of talk back and forth up, which Connor, you were involved in. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, it was specifically with Batman. Like, I always see Batman starting off as Batman when, like, coming back to Gotham, like, his year one and around, like, when he's 25.
Yeah.
But again, like, the whole timeline of Batman makes absolutely no sense because if he's like 25, he's like a year by himself. And then he gets Dick as Robin, and then he's Robin for like 10 years.
Yeah, if you start putting Batman down table and kind of like try and add up where all these kids were, it makes no sense.
Well, but it does hilariously show that like Jason was Robin for like 6 months.
Yeah,
and then he had no Robin for like a year, and then Tim shows up and he's Robin / Red Robin for like 6 months, and then Damian's been there for like however many years he's been there, like 2 years.
Yeah,
like a couple of years. So Damian's like the second most long term, like in terms of being Robin, has like the second most time as Robin, based on like especially in the Rebirth kind of where we are right now.
Before Rebirth?
Yeah, Damian's been around since before New 52.
Okay, jeez.
Basically at the start of Morrison's run.
Yeah, he created Damian.
Okay, good. That's a good decision. I like Damian.
Yeah, he basically did what Morrison does with like most characters, which is he brought in this thing. I don't remember who did the original story.
But, I think Daniel O'Neill and Neil Adams.
Yeah, when they brought in Ra's al Ghul, that like that time that like Talia drugged him, and I think originally that they had a tryst, but then they like retconned it into she kind of milked Bruce less than actual sex and collected a specimen is kind of what they've retconned it to, because Damian's a test tube baby in current continuity.
And technically he appeared as as a villain in Kingdom Come.
Oh, did they have him in that?
They don't have
a name, but she has a child.
No, he's part of Lex Luthor's group, and they don't call him Damien or anything in English, but his name translates to son of the batter or something like that.
Oh, interesting. Again, Morrison is like the master of doing that kind of stuff. So, which he's done in Green Lantern, and he did his Batman one specifically is just like all of the crazy stuff, and especially with what is the story? Is it the Black Mask? Not Black Mask.
The Black Glove.
Black Glove, yeah. Especially when you get into the Batman of Planet X or Zern Ra, whatever you want to call it. That shit is like combining some insanity from like the 60s that he brought in. So for you guys, I know we went like really roundabout. Like, is there any like, I guess for like Batman or Superman or any of the specific characters that like when you see them, like you see them coming in at like a specific age? Because I know we went back and forth specifically on Batman because Arlen, who's in like the fandom zone, kind of always saw Batman, I guess, starting when he was like almost 30, like 28, 29.
I mean, I think the Flash becomes the Flash the second that lightning bolt hits him.
But I mean, like age-wise, like how old do you think he is?
I'm joking. I don't know, man. Like I mean, that Bruce Wayne goes overseas, right, to go train as a ninja. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's like what is like teenage years. Like
well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's like when
I assume he's planning stuff at that point. Like he doesn't have his head in his head that he'll be a costume crime fighter, but like he knows that he's going to become a vigilante of some kind.
Yeah. To me, it's like I see him like graduating high school early and leaving at like 16, 17 and being gone for at least 5 years. Like enough time where he's legally dead in Gotham.
See, mine is along the same lines as yours, but it's training for like 10 years instead. So he comes back when he's like in his late 20s, closer to his early 30s. And he dons the cape and cowl closer to his 30s and starts everything there.
Yeah, see, in my head, it makes more sense that he puts on a cowl when he's younger because he's less mature and it's kind of like an insanely childish idea.
Mm-hmm. So, it is.
Yeah. I think it also, like, it's not just Batman. Like, to me, it's like, I was thinking, what age do you think Clark decides to, like, finally embrace and become Superman?
Probably as a teenager.
Mm-hmm. So I think for me, it's like way later. Like, I feel like he wouldn't do it until he's like fully, like almost in, like he's in college.
I mean, like that's like a difference between like because I think he's already saving people when he's a teenager.
Yeah. I mean, like coming out in like the full suit and being the persona of Superman.
I mean, he's got his cape and everything already when he's a teen, so I don't know.
You know what I mean, though? There's like a difference between like just saving people and then not standing there like for the kind of like just like, oh, something saved me, like some sort of probably has to do with watching Smallville, but like instead of just being like this kind of blur that helps people as opposed to like standing there and deciding to become the symbol type thing. To me, it's like a weirdly more, and the flip side of Batman, it's like a more mature idea that somebody like in college or maybe post-college like would decide to do. And I do think that their ages, Batman and Superman's ages, have to be tied together whenever you think about them. So I feel like one can't really exist in the DC world and the other one come way later because it makes no sense. They kind of have to both pop up simultaneously in the world.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's why I said teenagers for the both of them.
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting. Like, I don't know if there's like any Marvel characters like this, because I feel like they're way more concrete.
Punisher.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a little vagueness in him, but you can always say he's been to wars, so he's got to be in his late 20s, 30s,
and he has a couple. He usually has 1 or 2 kids.
Yeah.
So if he's done like a tour somewhere that's like 2 or 3 years, and that's after high school, so at the youngest, he's in in his late 20s, depending on how old the kids are. Like if his oldest kid is like 6, which usually I feel like they're older than that. Like
yeah.
I feel like Punisher's probably, when shit happens, he's like 32 or 33.
I'm actually the one I'm really curious about is Robbie Reyes.
Oh, as
Ghost Rider? Is that correct? Okay.
Ghost Driver.
Ghost Driver.
Yeah.
My apologies. That's fucking sick.
having not read the book, but I know the story, I feel like
I don't know.
It makes sense for being like 18, like definitely on the younger end, because he's involved in like gang stuff, right?
But he has a younger brother.
Yeah, but you can have a younger brother if you're 18. Like I don't know. Like I don't know enough of the story. Like I know what I saw in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and what I've read, so I feel like when he's involved, like all that stuff that he can be involved in is like he can be involved in at a much younger age. Kind of similar to like Peter Parker. Like to me, like Peter becomes Spider-Man when he's like a freshman or sophomore in high school, and that's like always the case in my head. And I guess like when I was saying like it's a little bit more difficult in the Marvel books because most of those other characters are like adults and established in some sort of career, like as they're becoming a hero or before. Like Captain America is at least 18 because he joined the military. So
what about Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, I was going to say, like, he's in high school, so he's with when he originally starts. So,
dude, isn't there like a side story where he's like a kid, like a real kid, and he has his spider powers and everything? You can get Spider-Man started at any age.
Yeah, but in order to like, they've done different versions and takes, but most of the time, Peter is in high school on some sort of a field trip.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, he doesn't really become Spider-Man until his Uncle Ben dies.
Yeah, and you can have tragedy at any age, man. As long as they're past 4 and they can comprehend memory and like the idea of loss, you're good.
Yeah. He's helping people, but like he doesn't become Spider-Man until like that one moment where he's like.
Well, that's a good point. Like, what do you think the time is between him getting the powers and Uncle Ben dying? To me, it's like fairly quick. Like
it's like a week
less
or 2.
Than a year. I would say maybe like a month at most. Like I can't see it being years, but I can see it being like him dicking around for like a month and then like feeling himself out really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Extra hard.
Oh, dude.
And then that's how he shoots the webs. I mean, like,
it's got those spider ropes, dude.
Yeah. I mean, like, even in like some of the like, you know, a lot of the other characters and like any other stuff, it's like way more well defined. Like Hellboy is really well defined because it's all like everything is so like all the years are there for everything.
Mm-hmm. Like because, you know how old, like he reaches physical maturity very quick, but he doesn't reach mental maturity till very, very later on.
Yeah. When he like first starts out, he's like a teenager, right? Technically.
Oh, absolutely. Like the first story technically is like 1955, which is only a couple years after they found him. Or it's like I think it's less than 10 years. So he's kind of still a baby.
Yeah, he's not even like a tween. He's like below that.
Yeah, like it shows him like beating the shit out of people, not asking questions. Like it's a stark contrast to the character you read later on, who is more interested, like who is so cocky with his knowledge that he just walks into a situation and he just talks rather than anything else. Well, he does go to fists later.
What was your guess for Robbie Reyes again?
Like 17 or 18.
You're pretty much got
bang on the money there.
Yeah, because I'm on the wiki and he's a high school student.
Yeah, because to me it's like with the way from what I read his backstory is of like that is kind of the age where like the kind of because he has like gang stuff initially, right? Or like,
he's trying to get he's not in a gang, but he's trying to get away from the.
Yeah, it's like a lot of that stuff would happen when you're like like just below 18, like when you're just not an adult, is like when they start beginning like trying to recruit people and that kind of stuff. So I mean, like there are other characters who like to kind of go on the flip side, like Jaime Reyes, the newer Blue Beetle. I think at times like I prefer him when he's kind of like Spider-Man, like he's like a high school kid. So I don't know. It's like it's an interesting thing to like kind of think about. Like,
wait, I think I may have thought of one or a group, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's true. To me, yeah, wow, that's a weird one because I see like Johnny has to be he's the youngest, so at most it depends on what origin. Like, are they the all military things? Like, is Johnny like ex Air Force or whatever he was at some point? Like, or
no,
is
I'm talking about Volume 1, 1960s, Dan and Jack.
That original? I feel like they're in their Johnny's in his mid-20s, and the rest of them are like close to 30. Maybe they're a little bit older than that. I haven't seen that in a long time. But yeah, like it's like some characters absolutely doesn't matter. Like Wonder Woman, like who cares? Like age means like kind of nothing. When like the Hal Jordan is kind of interesting to kind of think about, or any of the Green Lanterns, because it's like with Hal, like well he's gone to the military and then he's gone out. So when he gets the ring, I feel like he's in his late 20s, early 30s, which is makes him like even extra douchey because he's a super douche because of his age.
Yeah, John has to be older because
John's got to be like 35 when he gets the ring.
Because like he was a Marine, he was in a wheelchair.
Then he becomes an architect. So like he has like a whole life. And then yeah, some of the other characters are definitely like the two newer Lanterns are like definitely way younger.
Oh, Baz and Cruz.
Yeah, they're in their like Baz is probably like 25, and they're probably about the same age, probably both about 25. And I think Cyborg's kind of in that, like Cyborg's a college kid, so he's kind of like well defined. There's only like a handful of the characters that have this weird kind of nebulous age, especially when they first start out. And I think it's mostly DC characters because, again, I guess like the X-Men, like there's a lot of like vagary with like some of the
X gene kicks in during puberty.
Yeah, it kicks in during puberty, but then like how old are they when they're like on the team? And it really depends on like when you're reading. Like how old is Cyclops? For the most part, he's like what, in his 30s? Same with Jean, and I feel like most of like the main team members are in their late 20s, early 30s, so they've had their powers for like a long time.
I know the character ages, like the character I'm about to bring up, but was it ever mentioned in the issue in his appearance or his time in Swamp Thing about Constantine?
Constantine? I feel like Constantine's in his 30s. Like to be able to like having, because it seems like based on his origins, like at different times, like he definitely lived a pretty decent life before he even got into magic. Yeah,
because Hellblazer, like I said, he ages throughout the entire series, and the book went for what, 30 years?
Yeah, so like but they also age characters super slow in book if they ever do it at all. But
not John.
Yeah, so like, but I think like because I feel like he starts his kind of journey when he's in his early to mid 20s, but doesn't become really the John Constantine that's like walking around until he's like in his 30s. If that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's like anybody else like John. Is there anybody, I don't know, that you that like, does this ever like cross your mind when you're reading a book or anything?
Not really, because I just kind of think about, I don't know, like I it's like it's just like reading them means, like kind of like what their ages are already.
Yeah, I guess it's more like the reason like it became like a thing is like depending on where, like if they were to do like a movie or something and they did like an origin for a character, like how old that would be. So when we're talking about Batman, if you were casting, it's one of the reasons why like we've had 3 Spider-Men, why 2 of them have looked foolish, especially the first one playing a high schooler.
Oh, that's one of my favorite aspects of the original, like Raimi ones.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire, 35 years old.
Seeing a 35-year-old man walk next to like actual 17-year-olds.
But it's like he's the same. Him, Kristen Dunst is like the same thing. Like she's like 30-something in that, and then
the teacher or whoever was leading that trip at the science place or the lab was younger than they were.
Oh yeah. Oh, what's his name that plays Flash in that too? Is like hilarious because now he's a big actor. That was like
Joe Manganiello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot he was the bully in that.
Yeah, he's Flash Thompson, and then he became Deathstroke for a hot second. He got one scene in like a badass suit. I hope they let him keep that.
I mean, like, he's a huge nerd, so I think he probably pulled some strings.
He's a huge nerd who's married to Sofia Vergara.
Yeah, what a wild world that man lives in.
Yeah.
That guy should be Batman. I don't know why he was Deathstroke. He's got the chin.
Yeah. Again, that goes into like the whole like what age do you think? Like I think he could have done a really good year one Batman 6 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Before he got gray.
Yeah. But I think he would be a really interesting like middle-aged Batman now. Like, because like I don't even think like I liked Affleck take on it, but Affleck was what, like 40, like his Batman I
liked the older Batman. Like in my mind, in Dark Knight Metal, Batman's like in his mid-40s, and that's where I like my Batman.
Yes, well, because of all the Robins and stuff, like I'm like, oh, the current Batman's in his 40s. That is why he is just the biggest prick ever. Is because he's been running around doing this for almost 20 years, and he's like basically to everyone, get the hell out of my face! I'm the goddamn Batman.
I'm fucking Batman. Let me be.
Get out of my face! I'm the goddamn Batman. And like, running around like pulling down like signs and shit.
Yeah. I just like see him as like any character, especially like Hal Jordan's like, oh, I have an idea. He's like, you have an idea. You have an idea, Hal. Hal, take your idea and put it in your fucking ring. I'm Batman. I thought of your idea, and guess what I did with it? I flushed it. I have a briefcase full of like 15 different ways to destroy you, just in case. But guess what? Yours is empty because you're a moron. And he just like moves on. It's like very much like my Batman is like very similar if you've watched the Young Justice Abridged stuff.
Yeah.
Like that is kind of like the Batman I like, where he's just like, he just like doesn't even want to talk to anybody because everyone is just an idiot around him.
It just slows him down.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like a interesting thing. I guess it was maybe like it's something that I think about sometimes, especially when talking about like casting in like movies and stuff. Because like to me, like I think Momoa was not a bad choice for Aquaman. I just think he's like kind of, depending on where you put him, he's a little older.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is actually like, was he like 40 something?
Yeah, like he's up there, man.
Yeah, like I kind of don't get the reason why like they get actors who are like in their 40s to play these characters. It's like, so they're going to play the character for like 6 years and then they're going to be too old to do this?
Yeah. Hey man, they dig their own graves.
I forgot. I watched half of Aquaman on the plane back.
Mm-hmm.
But our plane landed, so I couldn't finish it. But,
damn planes. Always landing in the middle of movies.
That's how I watched Justice League.
That movie feels like a 90s superhero movie.
It definitely does.
Not even a 90s superhero movie. It feels like a 90s like action movie. Like it feels like Rush Hour almost.
I have to watch it still. Maybe that'll be my thing to do tomorrow.
I liked Aquaman. It was fun. And that's it. It was also beautifully shot. Like
I just had
drop dead
compared to Shazam, I just had like no super desire. Even though like I am kind of an Aquaman fan, like I just didn't have the drive to see it that I had for Shazam.
Yeah. No, I get that. I really need to see Shazam. I've heard nothing but good about it. I think we've talked about it. I know me and John have talked about it, but like it's definitely could have been, there could have been some scenes edited out and made it paced a little bit better. But I think the scenes I would have cut out, or maybe John might be like similar, is like I think would have not worked as well for younger audiences. Yeah, that's fair.
There's like a lot of scenes that are like kind of jokey montagey that I'm like, this is going on forever. But it's like it plays into like meme culture for like younger kids. And I think it's why they left it in. Yeah.
Everybody loves that Fortnite bit in Endgame.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
There's a Fortnite bit in Endgame?
God, I'm so sorry.
You didn't remember that?
I didn't know if you...
when they're playing Xbox.
Yeah, Korg is on the TV. Korg is playing Fortnite and he's dressed like Taika.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't play Fortnite, so I wasn't sure if there was like... I'm like, did did like Thanos do like a Fortnite dance or something? I don't remember.
No. Well, they had actually Thanos was in Fortnite.
Yeah, they
At one
did like a
point.
whole.
They did like a whole thing with them
Yeah,
where you had to collect the Infinity Stones.
yeah, it was like a 50-50 battle. I didn't play any of it, mind you. I saw people play it.
My wife's little cousins, little blast, all play it, and
Oh yeah,
I just stare at it. I'm like, I don't understand why you're playing this crappy shooter. But whatever. I'm an old man.
Old man yells at clouds.
Yes. All right. Well, I think we can, wrap it up. There's not really much else. I don't know. I guess quickly do plugs and maybe something that you picked up this week that you thought was awesome. So I don't know. Connor, do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Question Connor. I'm on Instagram at Maybe Connor. And I also write occasionally for lostharo.wordpress.com. I think that was right.
Yes, that is correct, sir.
Cool. It's been a while since I did the plugs, so glad I did that right. I'll be doing like E3 coverage and everything coming up here. And as for books, I picked up a lot this morning. But I am very excited that I got to read Kingdom Come. I ordered that in the mail, and I got and finished that before we read the podcast. So I really enjoyed that.
Maybe next time you can give us a review.
I would love to, because it was good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my plugs.
Jonathan?
You can find me at Twitter at. Oop, I brought up the wrong. I went to go type in Twitter, but I typed in the wrong URL. You can find me on Twitter at John JOHN _FN _Seiler SEILER. I'm also the same on Instagram. You can see me talk about comics or All In, which is on Saturday, and I'm pretty excited for that. It's basically a new wrestling organization. It's going to be starting.
You mean Double or Nothing?
Or like the All Elite show. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that should be pretty sweet, and I'll be talking about that. And also, like, any kind of, like, work stuff we'll be announcing on our way to Anime Expo.
Nice. All right. Was there a specific book or anything that you want to mention that you picked up?
I mean, like, it's, I'm trying to think of what I picked up yesterday. Like, I know I'm still, like, super into War of Realms. I also picked up Giant Man from last week, but I haven't read it yet. Assassination #3 is out.
I picked it up and read that today.
And yeah, that's kind of. There's like a couple other books I know I did pick up.
Yep.
To John's note, War of the Realms is very good.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick that up once it's done and like Trader Weight that.
Yeah, War of Realms is probably my favorite Marvel event since Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Nice. All right, so I'm Lou A. Gonzalez on all the social medias. So obviously you're listening to this podcast every Tuesday. Me and Alan have Smallville Chronicles that comes out on here. So we just started season 4, and then part of Los Horror is Legion of Tunes, which we will hopefully be recording a new episode this week, where we are watching Loving Vincent. I think that's it. Johnny, I know you watched it.
Oh, that's a beautiful movie.
I did. Oh yeah, have we already decided what the one after it's going to be?
No, I think it's Alan's pick, so I think he already knows what he's picking.
Oh, what is it?
It's either going to be Doctor Who related, or I may just choose some trippy stuff.
Oh man, I heard Doctor Who and I just like sank back in my chair a little bit.
Yeah, so check those things out. The books I picked up this week, I picked up Assassination. I also picked up Martian Manhunter #5, which has been really good. And then, like I said before, Excellence, which came out last week, or 2 weeks ago, I think, which is another Image book, which I highly recommend. Alan? Oh, yeah, and Alan does another podcast on Los Horror Games. And you guys are killing it, and you guys have a heavy week coming up soon, right?
We have a heavy, next month, we have a heavy month coming up next month.
Yeah, there's some stuff coming out in June.
We're going to be doing roundtables, hopefully each week, that we're prepping now. I'm working on, there's also the PlayStation All-Stars Ultimate Wrestler Showdown. Hopefully an episode of that goes up sometime soon. I'm just I want to sleep. But you can follow me on Twitter at SP Salvation because Emmett doesn't know what, based on the podcast post on the site, he doesn't know. He forgot what my Twitter handle is.
All right. Well, I agree with Alan. I am ready for some sleeping. So, adios, guys. Catch you next time.
I love you.
Oh shit! I forgot what I was going to say.
You should have said something about Barbados Slim.
There is no way out of here.